Hey, what's happening, guys? What's going on YouTube? You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. You guys may have seen the YouTube short I made earlier today announcing that Twitter users can now tip each other using the Bitcoin Lightning Network. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. I had mentioned in the YouTube short we're going to do a little bit of a longer video about this. So Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, is a big crypto enthusiast, a big crypto supporter. He has made statements saying that Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain are going to be a big part of Twitter moving forward. For a couple months now, they've actually been beta testing this Bitcoin tipping on Twitter, and they said that it was going to roll out to the wider user base before the end of the year. I think a lot of people were surprised how quickly this wound up coming, although about 2 weeks ago, some developer had released some back-end screenshots of what this platform was going to look like. Tipping on Twitter is going to roll out to iOS or Apple users this week, and then it should be rolling out to Android users sometime in the coming weeks. Now, Twitter is a platform that I don't personally use. I don't really like it. I've never really, quote unquote, got it. And, I didn't know we've talked about Twitter on here before. I know a lot of you guys aren't necessarily big fans of Twitter. Twitter has been losing users for years. I believe Twitter either just had to pay a big fine or is currently being sued for misleading investors about their number of subscribers or number of users. And I think part of the reason why Twitter has struggled so much is, I think all social media sites, all social media platforms have somewhat of a lifespan. YouTube and Reddit have lasted for a long time, but I mean, look at MySpace. Facebook's kind of fallen out of favor. Even the older crowd who was liking Facebook don't really like it anymore. I think one of the things that Facebook has done that Twitter hasn't is it's just a much more robust platform, right? With Facebook, you got Facebook, the platform itself in your feed. You have Facebook Messenger. You have the ability to make calls on Facebook. Facebook has payments. You have Facebook Marketplace. There's just a whole lot that goes on the platform. Like, I don't use Facebook, but occasionally I will check out Facebook Marketplace looking for like camper vans or something like that. I know other people who they don't like Facebook, they don't really use Facebook, but they do use Facebook groups for school, or for maybe a kickball league that they have going with some friends. So Facebook is a much more robust platform, whereas Twitter has always been. You can engage in a culture war in 160 characters or less. You can argue about politics. Twitter to me seems like a very divisive platform. They're also kind of one-sided in how they censor the platform. Twitter's a really unique platform in the sense that it's a one platform where nudity and porn is allowed. I mean, you scroll through Twitter and you'll definitely see some P's going into V's, which is not something you see on most other social media platforms. But then at the same time, they'll suspend people for saying learn to code or for saying, there are two genders or something like that. I'm getting kind of off topic here, but getting back into this whole Twitter thing, Twitter needs something to save the platform, right? Like, just being Twitter isn't really going to work. Twitter, again, has been losing users for a number of years. Donald Trump was probably the best thing to happen to Twitter in the past decade. You probably had 45% of people who hated Trump, 45% of people who liked Trump, and 10% of people who maybe tuned into Twitter just to see what kind of crazy things he was going to say. And now Trump's off Twitter, so what's going to bring people over here? Twitter has tried to do a number of things over the years to kind of save the platform, right? They put payments, they rolled out additional features. And none of it has really worked. I know Twitter is trying to get into e-commerce right now to where you can buy things through tweets, but everything has kind of flopped. We'll see how some of these recent rollouts wind up doing. I'm actually surprised that Twitter didn't get into the crypto space years ago. It would have been a really good thing for the company, and with Jack Dorsey being such a big crypto supporter, and I would say he's kind of a Bitcoin maximalist, I think it would have been really good for the platform. Obviously, Jack Dorsey also owns Square, which has integrated crypto, and he also owns Cash App, which allows you to buy Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin's the only crypto that you can buy through Cash App. Here's a couple things that you might want to know about before we get into the article. Here's a couple things you might want to know about this new rollout. So first off, you can't just plug any Bitcoin wallet into here. I don't fully yet understand how this is going to work, but there's a Chicago-based company called Strike who's kind of managing the back end of this. And it's one thing that I don't like about it. One of the things that's great about cryptocurrency is it can't be censored. It's free. It doesn't involve, it's not free, but I mean, it's free in the sense of freedom, and it doesn't involve third parties. Well, Twitter's tipping feature uses this company called Stripe, which is a third-party, centralized, licensed, and regulated company. So Why don't I like that? Well, first off, one thing, Twitter is known for censoring people. So if there's somebody who has unpopular views or makes politically incorrect statements, will Twitter shut down the ability to tip them, or will Twitter encourage Stripe not to let them receive tips? Here's another thing. So this feature is not going to be available to residents of New York or Hawaii. Obviously, New York residents have a tough time when it comes to crypto. I think only recently has Coinbase and a lot of other crypto exchanges allowed people from New York to use their platform. They have really strict laws regarding money services businesses, financial companies, crypto companies. So this is a regulated company. So this isn't free and open. This isn't available to everybody. This is only available to you if Strike has a license in your state. Because of this, again, crypto normally can't be censored. With this, it can. Also, I imagine you'll be getting a 1099 at the end of the year for whatever crypto payments you got, whereas that wouldn't be the case if the money were going into your own wallet. So Twitter also has something called, was it Open Spaces or Voices or something like that? It's basically Twitter's attempt to be Clubhouse. It's getting a little bit more popular, but it's still not really popular. So Twitter did say something to the effect of they're going to try to figure out a way to monetize this feature of Twitter with Bitcoin. So if you host an open room, if you host chats online, if you create content on Twitter, they will somehow reward you or pay you out in Bitcoin. There was some talk about verifying NFTs. I don't think you'll actually hold an NFT on Twitter, but you will be able to showcase NFTs that you have in other wallets. Hopefully this Mashable article covers a little bit of that. I do think there's a little bit of a problem with the messaging surrounding this. So, tipping, it sounds cool. A lot of people have been calling for it. Yeah, I guess in a sense it's good for mass adoption. But really, how many people are going to be tipping people on Twitter, right? And Twitter's a divisive platform. It's basically going to be people preaching to the choir and then people tipping them because they like their views. Like, oh, that guy really owned the libs. Here, take a Satoshi. Oh, that guy really laid into that Trump card. Take a Satoshi, right? It's going to be like back and forth, very divisive. And really, does a 160 character tweet deserve a tip, right? It's one thing if you join somebody's YouTube channel who's putting out long form content day after day and you're part of their community, but does a single tweet really deserve a tip? I probably would never tip somebody for a tweet, but I don't really go on Twitter either. What I think this is really groundbreaking for, or why this is really cool, essentially this could replace something like Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Western Union. What this is really cool for is remittance payments. So I believe when the owner of Strike was doing some interviews yesterday, he was on some type of like live stream or live chat with a guy in El Salvador at a coffee shop. And he sent the guy, I don't know if it was $10, $50, $100 or something like that, but he sent him this money for free over Twitter. Not sure how Strike makes money if these transfers are free, or I'm not sure if it's just very low cost and they're calling it free. But I think this is big for remittance payments, right? The ability to send somebody money across the world for super cheap through a platform that you're already on and already natively use. If you are a Twitter user, I think that's a much better use case and a much better selling point than, hey, you can tip somebody for a tweet, but that's just me. Let's get into this Mashable article. Twitter rolls out tipping with Bitcoin, explores verifying NFT profiles. Bitcoin is coming to Twitter. Twitter is leaning into the blockchain. The social media giant announced Thursday that starting immediately, users around the globe will be able to post their Bitcoin wallet directly to their profile, while a more limited subset will be able to more directly integrate a Bitcoin payment app. The addition of cryptocurrency payments to Twitter via Tips, formerly dubbed TipJar, coincides with the larger rollout of Tips to all iOS users globally, with Android access platform promised in the near future, so probably sometime in the coming weeks. People will be able to add Bitcoin Lightning Wallet or their Bitcoin address to send and receive Bitcoin tips beginning today, explained Esther Crawford, Twitter's product lead for creator monetization, on a Thursday press call. According to a Twitter blog post, users in the U.S., excluding residents of Hawaii and New York, and El Salvador, will be able to use the third-party Strike app to send and receive Bitcoin over the Lightning Network. Users will be able to add Bitcoin addresses to their profile. In other words, it doesn't appear that Twitter is getting into the business of directly facilitating Bitcoin transactions. Rather, Twitter is giving other services that do that work prominent real estate on its platform. So again, this isn't true crypto or true Bitcoin integration. Twitter has partnered with a third party. So it's almost akin to Twitter adding like Venmo or Cash App to their platform. It's not quite true crypto. It's worth noting that Square Cash App, which is a payment service founded by Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, allows users to buy and sell Bitcoin. Crawford also spoke to Twitter's interest in non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, and how they're currently used on the platform. Many NFT owners use their NFTs as profile pics, and Twitter is looking into ways to formalize that practice. So I think they would do something to like verify that. Like right now, I could take any photo, any PNG file, JPG file of an NFT that I don't truly own and use it as my profile pic. But it seems like, Twitter might want to get into trying to kind of verify the ownership of that. So you might have to somehow sign a transaction or verify in the blockchain that you actually own a certain NFT to be able to either feature that on your profile, put it in your media, make it your profile pic. We're excited to soon explore NFT authentication, she explained. It's a way to support creators making this art with a stamp to demonstrate authenticity. By allowing people to directly connect their crypto wallets, they can track and showcase their NFT ownership on Twitter. Here's something like, what type of security risks come with connecting your wallet to Twitter? And is that worth really being able to flex your NFTs on Twitter? To me, probably not, but to each their own. What that means exactly is still unclear. Will verified NFT profile pics be designed as such? And if so, how? We're interested in basically just making it visually clear that this is an authenticated avatar, and then give you some interesting info and insights about the provenance of that NFT, elaborated Crawford. In other words, Twitter knows NFTs and Bitcoin aren't going away anytime soon, so decided to embrace what's already organically happening on its platform. So that's all. We're going to wrap this video up here. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you have any other info or insights on this story, what this is going to look like, if you've actually used this feature, drop a comment down below. Let me know. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up, all that good YouTube jazz, and we will catch you on the next one.